So Joseph's just starting to put the chopped up pomace into the press bag, and the idea is very important that you have the right sized pieces of apple. About fingernail size is the perfect size to get juice out without there being a sludge that comes through the cloth in the basket, but the pieces are small enough you can get plenty of juice out. So what we're doing here is filling up the basket, and then once we get to the top it'll be a question of putting a wooden plate on the top after folding the bag over. So we're nearly at the top, and the wooden plate will be what applies all the pressure to be able to press down on the apple pulp. So I think the last little bit will be going in at the top, and then Joseph's going to fold the bag over first, just to keep all the pulp inside of the basket, and then he's going to put the wooden plate on the top. And what you can see is there's already some apple juice draining just under the weight of the apple pulp itself, the pomace. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is applying pressure, gradually increasing it. That's the best way of getting the maximum amount of juice out of the apple pulp. So Joss will give a reasonable number of turns initially, just to get that juice flowing. And then what we'll do is leave it for a little while for that pressing to work its way through, and then we'll apply a bit more. And then when it slows to a small trickle, you can apply a little bit more pressure, but it's important not to try and just turn the screw as fast as you possibly can straight away, because you won't end up getting as much juice out of the apple pulp. And you always really want to be doing that to maximise the juice you can get from the apples that you're using. Now, some apples give a lot more juice than other apples, and it'll really depend on the variety that you're pressing. It also depends on the ripeness. If you happen to press apples that aren't really quite fully ripe, you certainly won't get as much juice. So before the jug gets full, it's a good idea to swap it over, and then we're putting the freshly pressed juice into a container, and we're doing that through some muslin, and the idea there is to make sure we don't get any insects or foreign bodies in, and if it happens that there's any pieces of apple pulp that's come through the pressing, it'll also filter it out at this stage. One of the problems at this time of year pressing outside, particularly early on in the season, is insects, and that, you know, it's very, very difficult to avoid, but of course the key is you don't want them in your finished juice.